Thank you very much. I apologize. I was on mute. Thank every one of you on the panel for being here. I appreciate it. I'm having some trouble here understanding exactly where we're going with this. This is so important to me. I think this is one of the most important subject matters that we need to be discussing now in our country, not just in Congress, but in our country. And that is, just disinformation and how it is spread through the media. It's of extreme concern to me. I think of, the examples like you can't pick up a left-wing publication or a left-leaning, if you will, publication without it saying unfounded claims by President Trump of election fraud. I mean, it says that. Yet I'm from the state of Georgia, and I think back to 2018, and I think back to the gubernatorial race that we had in 2018. And I think back to specifically on a November 11th, 2018 segment with Joy Reid, where she espoused allegations that the election had somehow been manipulated to ensure Stacey Abrams would lose. And yet, when you hear about that, you never hear about unfounded claims that there was voter suppression during that time. I think the left-leaning media accepts the fact that was not a fair election. Yet in the state of Georgia, we understand it was a fair election. Another example, November 15th of 2018, Inside Politics alluded to allegations of concerns with the electoral outcome in the gubernatorial race. Yet that panel didn't push back on fraud allegations at all. Mr. Turley, to me, these are clear examples of double standards within the effort to address disinformation. It's very clear that this issue isn't just limited to a single party, a single ideology, or anything. Have there been any repercussions, Mr. Turley, or actions taken by these networks, CNN and MSNBC, to your knowledge, to address the spread of misinformation?
No, as I said in my testimony, I personally called out networks on false legal stories. Chuck Todd said something about a Michigan case against the governor, a ruling against the governor, that was manifestly untrue. That was not correct. I've seen commentators make arguments about legal theories that were rejected not just by the Supreme Court, but unanimously by the Supreme Court. So the problem is that everyone's quite selective in their rage. The important thing is they're rageful. They're addicted to that rage, but they're very selective. And once you go down this path of saying that we're going to try to take some people off the air or get these companies to bar opposing voices, you find yourself on that slippery slope. And it may come a day where you are on the wrong side of that private or public censorship.
Before I became a member of Congress, and even still, I'm a pharmacist by trade and by profession. And I was a nursing home consultant pharmacist. And that's why what happened in New York, I find so appalling and so upsetting and so disturbing. Yet we know that CNN had a ban on Chris Cuomo covering his brother, the governor of New York, for over 7 years, yet they lifted that ban. And during the months of March and June, Chris Cuomo had his brother on the show 9 times to discuss the COVID response. And also, I'm sure, to boost ratings. I'm sure he wouldn't have had him on to hurt ratings. I'm sure he had him on to help ratings. And yet now we find that the governor of New York was lying, not spreading misinformation. He was lying, covering up about deaths in nursing homes. And yes, that's offensive to me because I worked in nursing homes for so long. And I know what impact, and I knew whenever he made that executive order to send COVID-infected patients into nursing homes, what impact it was going to have. Mr. Troy, I want to just ask you, what can we do to prevent situations like this from happening?
Well, this is one area where I may disagree with Ms. O'Brien in the sense that even if the governor is getting false information, I still want him interviewed. I mean, that's part of the point, that when you believe that somebody is wrong, it's better to have the interview. It's better to force that into the open, to let people make their own decisions. And in Cuomo's case, it would be great to interview him, even if he is repeating things people think is false. But it is the diversity of our media platforms that allows those falsities to be brought to the surface. If you start to pressure cable companies to get rid of those networks you don't like or listen to, then you will have fewer of these stories called out.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Okay, I yield back. Thank you.